and they are choosing to specifically give this to IGN. We all know why, because IGN isn't going to talk shit about it. IGN is just going to clearly just play the game, just very flatly show off the game. And I guess in some ways people can say that's objective, but in other ways, it's just like, man, it's really safe. I really wish they gave content creators B-roll footage. I really wish they gave people who are fans of the game, the right to actually show off their montages and stuff like that. I really wish that Amazon was showing off their game in pretty much any other way, but exclusive footage from IGN, this is the news. We got to talk about it because mostly this is not a review of the gameplay exactly, per se. This is going to be a review of how Amazon is publishing this game, something that I'm kind of unique to call out. I don't know why nobody else in the genre does, because MMOs are games as a service, and the most important thing is how you publish those games. But Amazon, the trailers have just been kind of, for a AAA game, for a AAA studio, for a studio with this much money and seemingly understanding of marketing, their trailers are kind of garbage. They're just passable and they're average. And I'm just going to call it out. I think there's too many talking head pieces. I think there's not enough B-roll. I think a lot of the content is reused, just footage that we've basically, if it's not literal reused footage, it's footage that we've essentially seen before. It's the same content. And I also think there's not enough content. There's not enough behind the scenes, and there's seemingly just not enough passion behind this game, even though I know there is because I literally visited the studios and I can't explain that experience too much because NDA, but I know there's passion behind this game to an extent. I know that they've been listening to the community to an extent as well. I know that compared to a lot of games, especially AAA studios, this company's doing some unique stuff, but the way they're presenting it is really bad. It's very poor. And that's basically going to be, everyone's thoughts and feelings. Is a lot of people were either, and this is going to be for most games, you are super hyped about a game because you're a fan of certain mechanics, or you think it's going to be trash because of your biases playing maybe seemingly similar looking games, and you're like, oh, it's going to be just like this game, it's going to be just like that. And now people are kind of coming together and being like, yeah, this is totally going to be just like an average game. It's going to be average. It's going to be a B game. And it not only is it going to be average, but it's pretty clear that this game is going to be more particular. It's going to be more focused on a niche of types of gamers. So it's going to be an average game toward a targeted niche, which is actually, I'm going to come out and say it, really fine. That's totally fine. If you look at the games it's competing with, from Gloria Victis to really not, it's not competing with Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, or Final Fantasy 14, nothing like that. It's going to be competing with like Life is Feudal, Darkfall, Mortal Online, a bunch of debatable, completely garbage games. Even though Gloria Victis I had some fun with, and whatever. Darkfall is special in its own little way, but I'm sorry, but those games are, you can barely call them B games, and I think Amazon Studios is at least, if it's not AAA, well, it's not going to be garbage, and that's pretty much all everyone's saying is like, well, it doesn't look like garbage, but I'm refunding. This isn't what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be more exciting. All these trailers, people are basically just saying the trailers are just not good. They're too quick cut. The action it just moves too quickly. Or with right here, the IGN footage, where we are seeing extended war gameplay, which is going to be the meat and taters of the game, apparently. It just kind of looks like a B AAA title. It actually looks a lot like Conqueror's Blade, which again, you can compare it to that, and it looks better. It does look cool, and I know it's going to be fun. I know there's going to be strategy and tactics. If you guys have ever seen any other PvP MMO game, you know that what you see on the screen is not the literal gameplay. There's a lot behind the scenes. There's a lot going on, especially with communications and the preparation. And then this game's going to have Souls-like mechanical fighting. Sure, that's going to be awesome. But it just really, the presentation just isn't good enough. Amazon won't give people like me B-roll. Amazon doesn't really give me the tools to explain what's going on under the hood. I'm not even allowed to, There's still an NDA so close to release, but they give it to IGN because IGN's going to be safe. They'd rather be safe than sorry. And I think that's where a lot of people are kind of feeling a distaste for New World, is this game, which started originally as a concept that was really more like trying to hit a home run with a unique concept, obviously inspired by survival games, supposed to be like a magical survival, proper true MMO, and, hardcore PvP. And then they kind of mixed in some ideas here and there, made it more Care Bear, and they definitely made it more approachable to more different types of players. And again, that's not exactly a wrong thing, but that in conjunction with all the news that we've gotten about the game, with the way they've presented that news, it's more telling than showing, and it's also more boring too. It just really looks safe, and it doesn't look as, I think, sexy as it could. And that's pretty much it, guys. You guys are looking really for the promise of back in the day that we saw with games like Dark Age of Camelot. You guys, what the kind of like the first seasons of World versus World inside of Guild Wars 2, or the kingdom fight, the faction fighting inside of Elder Scrolls Online, or the fun, awesome, weird battle back when battlegrounds were hype as hell in World of Warcraft. You know what I'm saying? We really do want some fun battlegrounds and obviously world PvP in an MMO, and that's why Albion Online is actually doing fairly well, despite it being part of that niche. And I think we want these kind of games, but you just, man, you gotta present it better. And this is a big problem I have with a lot of games. Just in general, I do talk about it a lot, but overall, it just seems that I'm just gonna come out and say this as well, that the footage that we're seeing from IGN, and a lot of people are very pessimistic about the game now. I do think the game is going to be better than what we are seeing in the trailers. And I think you can just look at evidence of like Guild Wars 2 trailers, or especially early World of Warcraft, or pretty much any MMO's first trailers. They never show the peak or the reality of the gameplay, what the PvE is going to be like, what the PvP is going to be like. Often you'll, like, in World of Warcraft's case, I remember the trailers were like PvP and people are just standing still whacking each other. Nobody knew that you'd be flanking and jumping around and doing all sorts of blinking and stuff like that. What you do now in World of Warcraft in the arenas, World of Warcraft is now an esport, right? And as well, Guild Wars 2, a lot of the PvE, you are extremely mobile. There's skill shots everywhere, but you don't really see that in the early trailers. So people don't really know how to play, but also it's a big point that the developers, I don't know, there's something about it, but developers, I just don't consider them players anymore. And I don't think they know how to show off their game like a player would really want to see often enough. And that's why I applaud games whenever they answer those player-centric questions, things like that. The action combat, how action is going to be, how many skill shots, what's it really going to be like. And so when you pass stuff off to places like IGN, which are just so vanilla, and they play, and you get these perspectives of kind of casual gamers, you kind of see the not real gameplay. And that's pretty much all I want to say. I do think that the game is going to be better. I think the trailers so far have been poorly cut, poorly managed, and I have literally emailed, New World asking, hey, can we get some different footage, because the footage on your YouTube and the footage on your Twitter is not good enough. For example, we have to literally download the videos from Twitter, which are low quality 720p, just little snippets, and then use it in our footage. So everyone making content on New World is really just not showing off the game well enough. And that's pretty much it. And that is something telling about the game. So all of you guys who thought it was hype and now it's average, all of you guys who thought it was going to be bad, but it's turning out to be a game, just a average game, I think we can all agree that it will be an average game. But I do want to push that it probably will be better, but at the same time, even if it is slightly better than the footage and it does hit a mark for a certain niche, the hardcore PvPers and those who take MMOs seriously, even if it does turn out to be really exciting for those kind of players, I think that the direction they're going to try to grab more players, it's not going to work with these trailers. And I don't think a lot of people are going to join in. And I hope that when the game launches and they see what audience is really playing and what they really want, I hope they continue to listen to the community and hope that they push, their publishing in that direction. Hopefully, it's less of these weird Facebooky, Instagrammy trailers, and it's more, real shit. The kind of stuff that you are plotting Ashes of Creation for. The kind of stuff that we love seeing in Albion Online right now. Really exciting trailers, really exciting events, really exciting games as a service updates and continuation of the game. But, so basically my review right now of the game, which is actually totally fair, because the game is being produced and being published currently actually to us right now, even though we can't play it, I gotta give it a just barely passing grade. It's passable. And that's the problem. There's so many bad mobile games, Facebook games, stuff like that have, passable trailers. They pass these trailers, they just market to us, they just shove it down our throats. But is that good enough now for this kind of game, where we expect to see things deeper, to expect to see more, depth, more bite to the gameplay? I don't think it is. If this was a game that was like a WoW clone, if this was a different kind of game, maybe. If it was a casual game, maybe. But this isn't a casual game. This is a hardcore game. And I feel like the way that they've presented this game was not really to that audience. And that's pretty much it. That's what I gotta say, guys. And does it matter? Fuck yes, it matters. It really does. Because I think we've seen what happened to the esports scene and the PvP scene in Guild Wars 2, and how that was really telling. We should have seen that coming in the first place. as well what happened to World of Warcraft. We should have seen the turning of the tides based on their trailers and what they were doing. You can tell what a game and where its direction is going based on how it's publishing itself. These are games as a service, and that shit matters. So, does this now knowing that they're kind of skewing their original design concept and their gameplay to maybe a different audience, and you can tell it's not targeting you anymore, does that make you not want to buy the game? Maybe are you more excited? Maybe you're like, yeah, this looks like a fun, silly game. We'll jump in and have a time. You know, a lot of early access survival games are just like that. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. Is it hitting the mark for you? But I can clearly see like-dislike ratio from a lot of my videos and now these videos, seeing the overall response on Reddit and forums, it looks like a lot of people are basically, whether you were hyped or not before, it's just, I think we can all agree, well, it's going to be an average game. And I think that's sad because the game hasn't come out yet and you've only had opportunities to show the best of the best. So if the best footage that you can come out with is average, and especially, yeah, I do have to say it, Amazon's 2 games have failed already. So with that in mind, do we expect them to continuously update and manage this MMO? It's a little frightful. And frankly, it just, yeah, I have to say it. It looks average. And it does have potential to be better than average. And comparing to other games, well, it's going to be good. All the other games are bad. But that's, you know, is that a victory? Is that a W for the MMO community? I don't know. But that's all my thoughts and feelings. That's what I got. That's pretty much it. Much love. I'll see you in the next one.